In the new Winterfall Expansion for Wondrous Creatures, winter suddenly descends upon Starbeak Island, forcing players to adapt to a more dynamic map and new tactical challenges. So as you can see, I have everything set up for a solo game. When playing with the Winterfall Expansion, setup is a little bit different. There's a new Winterfall board, along with a project board. Those normally would go on either ends of the main board, but I'm using this configuration. I think this is a little bit better for solo. I've added 52 new creature cards into the giant creature deck and just shuffled it all up. We have a new deck of Winterfall cards, which we shuffled up. And we also have new Aurora tokens. And so again, we just shuffle that up and put them into a big pile. Here on the main board, we've covered up the timeline with the new Winterfall timeline based on player count. There's also new achievement cards. There's completely new brown achievements. And for the blue and yellow achievements, pick the correct one based on player count. And then there's 8 of these creature icon tokens. You want to shuffle those up and deal them out at random. 1 on each of the blues, 2 on the yellows, and then 1 on each of these projects. Now in the base game, there were only 7 creature types. Winterfall adds an 8th, these spirits. You're then going to draw a random prelude card from the stack. In this case, we got Silent Eggs. This is going to show you how to do a little bit of additional setup. Here it shows where we should place the snowflake tokens in the snowfields, and it's showing where we should place the 2 wild habitat tiles. And then we're done with that. The Winterfall expansion also comes with 6 new captains. I'll be playing with Freya. I've already drawn my 8 creature cards and discarded down to 4. The expansion also comes with a new deck of solo opponent cards, so you want to shuffle that up. And if you're looking for a challenge, the expansion comes with the Nightmare variant Tingent. I'm not anywhere near that level. I'm actually playing with the easygoing Tingent from the base game. You can also see these nice plastic containers that come with the expansion that you can store most of the pieces in. There's a bunch of new concepts like blizzards and Winterfall events, snowflakes, auroras, but I will explain all of those things when they come up as we play, like I always do. So how about we just jump in and get started? We get to start, and on our turn, we must take one of 4 basic actions. There's 2 actions we're going to be taking most of the time. The first is we can play a card. So here I have my hand of cards. If we take a look at this one, you can see on the side here, it shows which resources we need to spend in order to play the card. Here are our resources tracked here. There's 4 different types: fruit, coral, flowers, and mushrooms. So in order to play this card from our hand into our, what's called our reserve, we would need to spend 2 flowers and 1 mushroom. Then it would come up here. We would get this number of victory points at the end of the game. So in this case, 1. And we'd unlock the special ability. Now there's a bunch of different types of special abilities. From this symbol here, we can see that this is an ongoing special ability. It says that each time we flip an egg or multiple eggs, then we'll get 1 victory point. So once we get this played into our reserve, we'll have access to that special ability for the rest of the game. You can also see at the top of the card, it has a habitat, which matches one of the 4 resources, and it has a creature type. So in this case, it's a butterfly. Like I said before, there are 8 different creature types. The main goal of the game is to play these cards into our reserve and to collect different creature types. And we're doing that in order to complete these achievements. So for example, here, if we get 6 of these bird type creatures into our reserve, as well as with these eggs, which I'll explain the eggs here in a second, then we could achieve this top achievement and score 12 points at the end of the game. Our brown achievements for this game are 8 different species cards in our reserve. So that card would not count our eggs. Here it's 9 of the same species icons in our reserve, and that would count both cards and eggs. And this one is 8 or more cards in our reserve, but not counting instant cards. Instant cards would be like this one right here, which you can see as soon as you get it played, you just instantly get 1 net. It would also be worth 2 victory points at the end of the game. Now, a second type of action that we can do on our turn is just to achieve one of these achievements. The third type of action we can do is to place one of our workers, and this is how we obtain resources and new cards. As you can see here, we have 3 workers, and one of them we have our captain who's riding on top. And this is really cool. They have a little magnet there. Boop. Now, right now, all 3 of these are exactly the same. But once we've achieved at least one of these achievements, then we get to unlock our captain's special ability. That means that when we play this worker, we'll get a little extra bonus. In the case of Freya, I'll get an adjacent egg, or I'll get to flip 2 of my eggs. Again, I'll explain eggs here in a second, but we don't need to worry about that power yet because I have to complete an achievement first. So for my action, I can place one of my workers out here onto an available empty spot. Now we have quite a few different types of hexes here. We have the terrain hexes. We have just plains right there. These green spaces are mountains. The blue spaces are ocean or water. And these hexes that show one of the 4 different types of resources, those are habitat spaces. When we're placing our worker, we can only place them in either the plains or the mountain hexes. We can't place them on top of water or on the habitats. So I couldn't do something like that. Our workers span 2 hexes. Now, if I were to do something like that, if any part of my worker is on a mountain space, then I have to spend any resource. And even if I were to go like that, I'm on 2 mountain spaces, that's still just 1 resource. If I place it on a space with an egg, then I get to collect that egg and put it into my reserve up here. I'm thinking about placing my worker there, but on second thought, I'm going to go right there. I'm only on plain spaces, so I don't have to pay a resource. And now we're going to look at the adjacent hexes, and any habitat hex I'll get to activate. So in this spot, I'm only adjacent to 2 habitat hexes. For each one of those, I have a decision to make. I can either take that corresponding resource. So right here, I could take a flower, and I will. So now I have 2 flowers. For the second one, instead of taking a resource, which I could do, I could get up to 3 flowers, but instead, I'm going to take a card. But I can only take a card from that habitat. So here, we have a card here from that habitat, and one right there from that habitat. I want this card. So I'm going to take that card and add it to my hand. Once I've played this card into my reserve, it will give me 1 victory point per egg in my reserve at the end of the game. That's what that bell symbol means. And because there was a snowflake above that card, I get to take the snowflake. So what are these snowflakes for? Well, at the end of the game, we're going to resolve this project. And whoever has the most snowflakes will get 8 points. And if you have the second most, you'll get 3 points. And if you have no snowflakes, you'll get 0. Now, this is, of course, if you're playing a 1 to 2 player game, you'd flip this over for a 3 and 4 player game, and these would be slightly different. So now I want to do one more thing, because we also have free actions that we can take at any point. One of those free actions is to play one of our nets. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to discard this net. A net lets us do one of 2 different things. One, we could activate the special ability of a habitat space. This has one right here, and that's showing that we could get another flower if we wanted to. Instead, I want to do the second ability of a net, which is to collect an adjacent egg. That egg is adjacent to my worker, so I'm going to take it. You want it on its unhatched side versus its hatched side. And you're just going to place it in the leftmost empty space, and you're going to get whatever it shows there. So in this case, we're just going to get a point. There we go, we're on the board. Now, I should mention a couple of things. First, we have these wild habitats. If you're adjacent to those, you can take any resource or any card. Now, the last type of action that you can do on your turn, you can only do if all 3 of your workers are out on the board. At that point, you can't place any more workers out, but instead you can recall them. You take what's called a recharge action. I'll explain recharging when I have to do it. So I can refill this. And there we go. That's the end of my turn. And now goes over to our solo opponent, Tingent. And we're just going to keep going back and forth like that, taking actions until all 8 of these trophies have been taken off the board. Those trophies are removed when we complete an achievement. It's now Tingent's turn. And like I said, we have a new solo deck here. So we're just going to flip the top card. Remember, we want the yellow side up because right now Tingent's in the yellow side. Once we get to the brown, we'll flip these over and we'll activate the brown side. Here it's showing that it wants to place its captain. And the placement rules are similar to the base game, except for now you can see there are Aurora tiles. And the Tingent is always going to prioritize being placed next to Aurora tiles. Now, those aren't on the board yet, so we can ignore that. It's just going to be placed adjacent to as many coral tiles as possible. Also, when it's on its yellow side, it can't be placed in the mountains. So that is obviously where it wants to be because it's going to be adjacent to 3 coral. But just to be clear, if there was an Aurora tile or 2 on the board, it would get as close to as many of those as possible. It always prioritizes going next to the Aurora tiles. Just like the base game, it's going to get a victory point for every coral that it's adjacent to. So 1, 2, 3, it's getting 3 points. If it was adjacent to an Aurora tile, it would get a certain number of points depending on the difficulty that you're playing on. For us playing on easygoing, it would get 3 victory points. And then there are these blizzard tokens that will be out there. We'll explain blizzards once we start seeing them show up. But again, depending on your difficulty level, it'll get points for removing some blizzard tiles. In our case, it would get 1 point for removing a blizzard tile. And then we look in the middle, just as always, we see that little gear symbol, so we move their marker 1 step forward. And if there was something on the space, we would resolve it, but there wasn't, so that's it. That's their turn. I should note that that restriction of only being able to play on planes goes away once they get to their more advanced side. Still a long ways off from that, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay, back to us. Now, what do we want to do? And when you take an action to play cards, you can play either 1 or 2 cards. So if you can, it's nice to wait until you can play 2 cards to just be the most efficient. And so what I want to do is I'm going to get a couple more resources. We're going to go right there. We're in the plains, so we don't have to spend a resource. And we placed on top of this egg, so we can place it here. That symbol there shows that we can take 1 card from the wilderness. I have my eye on this card right here. So we're going to add that to our hand. And now I want to take a coral. And I probably want to take a fruit. It's a wild, so we could take any resource we want or any card. I think I want the resource. Yeah, let's go with a fruit. That's it. I'm done. Tingent's going to be placing their regular worker. And again, no auroras, so we're looking for the most fruit. That is the obvious spot. And that's going to be 3 more points. Also, this is going to move, and it's moving on to a discovery spot. When they do a discovery, they simply draw the top discovery tile and place it in the leftmost lake space with an egg. They then take the egg, just put it in their area, unhatch side up. And that's it. It's that simple. Now we have the resources to play 2 cards, so I'm going to take that action. The first card I'm going to play is this one. We saw this one already. It takes 2 flowers and a mushroom. Now each time I flip an egg or multiple eggs, I'll get a victory point. And then I want to play this card. Costs 2 coral and a fruit. It's going to be 3 victory points at the end of the game, and it has an instant effect. It says hatch an egg, and then take 2 resources of the same type. So here we go. I got to hatch either egg. Hatching, you just flip it over to its hatch side. When I flip over an egg, I get a point. Boom. And I will take 2 flowers. And you might notice I have 1, 2, 3 butterflies. I'm clearly going for this achievement here. I'd like to get 8 of, butterflies and or dragons in any combination. I have a dragon card as well, and 2 more butterflies. Now, if I want to, I don't have to wait till I get to 8. I could jump in once I have 5 and just take the lesser points, just so I can get an achievement quickly so I can unlock my special ability. That might be worthwhile. Either way, that's me done. Over to Tingent. All right, this symbol is real simple. This just means that they're going to obtain a creature card from the wilderness, and it needs to match, based on this guy, one of these 2 species types. So either the spirits or the fish. There's no spirits and 1 fish, so they're going to take this one. They're going to add it face up in their area. They're going to score 4 points at the end of the game for that. And because of that symbol, it means that they're going to take the snowflake. And they'll just add it to their collection. Now, if there were no matches, they would just draw a card from the top of the deck and place it face down in their area. And if there was more than 1 match, they would choose the one that had the most snowflakes. If there was still a tie, then they would take the one that was worth the most victory points. And if there was still a tie, they would take the leftmost one. Okay, and we look at the middle. They're not going to move their marker, and so that's it. They are done. We refill. I'd really like to get another egg, but I don't need mushrooms. What I'd really like is 2 fruit would be great. On second thought, I think 2 coral would actually be great as well. We'll go right there. We'll get 2 coral and a fruit. Ooh. Or would we like this card? Because that's in the fruit habitat. This card as an instant effect would let us put a blizzard on a tile, on a habitat tile. And then we'd get that resource and we get to activate its special ability. Yeah. I'm going to take that. I like that card. Okay. Tingen's turn. Okay, wants its captain next to mushrooms. Got to be right there. That's 2 more points. And moving on, and that's going to move the time tracker. If you look on the time tracker there, that spot below, it shows a Winterfall event. So that means we're going to draw the top Winterfall card. Ooh, and we got landslide. So now we're just going to resolve the event from top to bottom. First thing it says is to place 1 snowflake on the 2nd, 5th, and 6th snowfield. Simple enough. It then says to place 1 snowflake on each snowfield with a coral or flower habitat icon. Ooh, that's a lot. And 1 more flower right there. It now says all players place an unmarked mountain tile on any unmarked plains to gain 1 resource from an adjacent habitat, even if it has a blizzard token on it. So that's these here. We have extra mountain spaces. Now, Tingen's going to be first to do this, and they're not going to get a resource. To determine where they're going to place, we have to follow this flowchart here. First, it wants to place a mountain tile on an unmarked plain hex adjacent to a wild habitat. Now, we have 2 spots where that could be. So we're going to go on to step 2, which is if multiple hexes satisfied, step 1, Among those options, place it on the hex that is adjacent to the most habitats. Well, they're both adjacent to no other habitats. So we're going to move on to step 3. If still tied among those choices, choose the leftmost hex. So there we go. They're going to put a mountain right there. Now for us, these mountains are good for us because it's going to block them from going into that space, at least until they level up. I'll just put it right there. And there we go. That was landslide. And that's their turn done. Now for us, because we have all 3 of our workers out, we could choose to do a recharge and get our workers back. Again, they all have to be out in order to recharge. I do have the resources in order to play both of those cards. Yeah, I guess I'll get my workers back. So we get them back. When we recharge, that's when we move the time marker forward. So we're going to distribute the eggs onto the dot spaces. One right there. Ooh, I like that dragon one. Oh, there's one there. And you can see there we're going to get a net. And we can do a sweep action of these cards. The double brooms means a full sweep. And when you do this, you leave the snowflakes where they are. Those never move. And when you recharge, this is also when you check your hand limit. We have a hand limit of 5 cards, so we're good. If we were over that, we'd have to discard. And then if we had any recharge powers that were in our reserve, then we could activate them now. We don't have that, so we're done. Back to Tingent. Okay, so once again, they're taking a card, either fish or spirit. So the fish card, they get the snowflake. They get an egg that matches whatever species that they just got. So they get a fish. And they're getting an extra snowflake from the supply. So now they're 3 to our 1 on snowflakes battling for this project. Ooh, and there's a butterfly. Oh, baby, I want that card really badly. We're going out here. I'm going to take that. That's going to be 1 point. And for one of my flowers, I'm getting this card. This is great. The other flower I'll just take. And that's it. Tingent's turn. Regular worker next to coral. We now have sort of 3 different spaces, or no, 2, I guess. Here or there. In the case of Atai, it wants to be next to more habitats. So that actually puts it adjacent to the 2 that it wants, plus an additional one. So it will favor that. It's adjacent to the 2 indicated, so it gets 2 points. And this moves. I now want to go there. I want to get a fruit. I want to play these 2. So I have 2 fruits. I have everything I need to play these 2. Then I want to play this one. So I'm going to need more fruit. So yeah, let's just get another fruit. And I want to catch that egg. Spin the net. That's going to give me a resource of my choice. I will choose a fruit. Great, and now I'm all ready to play cards. This will be perfect. Okay, Tingent. Again, taking a card, but I don't believe that there's one available. There's not that's matching either of those 2. So they're just going to take from the top. And that goes face down. And then this moves on. Now back to us, and I can play my cards. This is going to be awesome. So first, let's play this one. One fruit. One flower. So I can flip up to 2 eggs, and then I'll get 2 points for each one that I flip. So we're going to flip this one. And this one. This one's going to go from hatched to unhatched, which you can do. Remember, when I flip an egg or multiple eggs, I get 1 point. So I don't get 2 points because I flipped 2 eggs. I only get 1 point because that was part of the same action. But now I'm getting 2 per flip, so that's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I cross this, so I will get to do a discovery. I'll place this one there. Get that. That's going to be a point. And now I'm going to play this card for my second play. It's going to be a fruit, coral, and a flower. But now I get to swap any 2 of my eggs for 2 eggs from the supply of my choice. And I can swap hatched or unhatched eggs, and I'll get 2 unhatched back. So let's just go ahead and get these 2. And we're going to exchange them for butterflies. Now, the difference between hatched and unhatched is when they're unhatched, they can count towards these objectives or these achievements. But when they're hatched, they don't count. But check this out now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these. So we now have this achievement. So now on my next turn, as an action, I can achieve this. And then if I can get 2 more butterflies, boom, I'll have 9 of the same. And then I can do that one. So that's the goal right now. But there we go. That was my 2 plays. Ugh, this again. This time we're going off the blue marker, which is birds. And wow, we have 3 birds there. They're going to take the one that gives them the most snowflakes first. So they are killing us on snowflakes. That goes face up. They get an egg of that type and an extra snowflake. So we can exchange 5 of these for one of the big ones. Six snowflakes to my 1. I think maybe we're going to just go for second place on that one. At least if we have 1, we're getting those 3 points. So now we get to do the 4th type of action, which is to achieve. Here we have 8 of those 2 types in any combination. So we get to select one of these markers over here. We'll get the bonus based on which one we pick. So grabbing 2 cards wouldn't be the worst thing. Also wouldn't mind having a net. Ooh, yeah. I think I want that net. So I'm going to go there. I don't think I mentioned this, but you can only hold 3 nets at a time. Place that on there, so that's going to be worth 12 points at the end of the game. We also get one of these trophies. These are worth 3 points at the end of the game, I believe. Now, here's the big part. With these cards, right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 with the cards. We need 8, so we're using these 4 eggs. And when you use the eggs for the achievement, you got to flip them. So that's 1, 2... 3, and 4. They all got flipped. Now, when I flip an egg or multiple eggs, I get a point. I land here, I get another net. And because that was my first achievement, boom, I get to unlock my special ability. As I said before, when I place my captain, I can either grab an adjacent egg, or I can flip 2 of my eggs. And so this ability is going to help me unflip those, unhatch them, so that I can use those butterflies to get to that. And also when I do that, I'll get a point. So pretty nice combo there. And that's my turn. That's my turn. The whole action is to achieve. Once again, ooh, we're taking the ghost. No snowflake there. This will move on, and that means they are going to achieve. And they're going to be achieving their yellow guy. Now, they can automatically achieve this bottom slot. They're going to achieve the top slot if the icons on their face-up cards and their eggs exceeds this bottom amount. So if they have a combination of 5 or more, or I guess more than 5. Yeah, more than 5 of either, fish or spirits in any combination, then they'll get the top slot. Otherwise, it'll be the bottom one. So they have 1 egg that's a fish, so that's 1. That's 2, 3, and 4. So they didn't exceed that, so they're going to take the bottom one. And then they're going to move this to the next card. And we cleverly took the top one, so now they're just going to have to take the bottom one. And that still leaves the top one available for us if we wanted to do it. Oh, and of course they take one of these. Yeah, let's go for the fruit. So I'm going to use my power. I just placed my captain. I'm going to use my power to flip 2 of these and get a point. I might get all 3 in fruit. 1, 2, 3. Let's just get all of the fruit. I'm then going to spend this net to get that egg. This is going to let me take a card from the wilderness. And we'll take that one. They're going to have their regular worker and adjacent to flowers. I'm blocking the double flower, so I think... yeah, gotta be there. That's just 1 point. But they're moving forward on this. That's going to move the time track. And here we go. We're now onto an Aurora event. During an Aurora event, we get to place out Aurora tiles. So the Tenjin's going to get to go first. They just draw the top tile. And then they're going to place this on one of the wild habitats. And in this case, they're going to do it on the leftmost one. We then get to place one out, but we get to draw 2 and pick. So here we go. Ooh. Oh, wow. So that would be just, 2 flowers, but this would let us activate our last instant card that we put into our reserve. Holy moly, that's good. Boy, especially for this egg swap. Ooh, goodness gracious. Okay. Yeah, let's go with that. Now we're going to place this on a habitat. You can't place it on the butterfly net habitat, but you can place it on any of the other habitats. Let's go there. If we go there, then it's safer. They can't block it. At least not for a few more rounds. And then whichever habitat we covered, we get one of those resources. And then you put a little token on there. Some of them will have 2 spaces. Some of them will just have 1. When you go next to them, you'll get to activate it. You'll take off the token, and then if it's empty, you remove it. So these spaces have very limited uses. But as you can see, they are extremely powerful. Back to our turn, and boy, activating this swap again would be something else. I'd have to do a recharge first. We'll get them back. Advance the time marker. Now we're putting out eggs on V. These aren't really the eggs I want to see. Oh, down here. Oh, and there's one right there. Getting a net. We're sweeping. I don't have over 5 cards, and I don't have recharge cards, so that's it. That's my turn. So again, now there are Aurora cards out there, but they can't play next to them. So instead they're going after fruit. Gotta be there. That's 3 points. This moves on. They're doing a discovery tile. And yep, they go to the leftmost lake. 2 of those. And now I think I want to play. We'll go there. I have to spend a resource. Let's spend a fruit, because there's fruit everywhere. Special ability lets me flip 2. So we'll go 1, 2. Get a point. I get to reuse this, so we can swap 2. I'm going to go 1. Gosh, if I go all in here, I would need to get 8. I have a ghost and a fish right here, so that's 1, 2. That'd be 3, 4, 5. That would actually be 6. You know what? I'm going to take that. I'm going to get 2 fish. Now we remove that Aurora token. That means the tile's going to go away. And now for those 2, I'm going to get the coral. And for the wild one, I think I'm going to grab a card. I think I'll grab this card because it has 2 ghosts on it. It says at the end of the game, gain 1 victory point per any spirit in your reserve. Ah, I could have made those spirits. Actually. I like that fish card way more. I'm going to take that. Oh man, didn't take this bird. They are killing it on the snow. That's bad for this one too, because I think they're going to get that top level. Back to us. Now I want to play cards. So we'll play this first. 2 and 1. We can hatch an egg to get 2 resources of our choice. Probably flowers. Probably flowers. There we go. And we flipped an egg, so that's a point. And then we're going to play this card. 2 fruit and a flower. So now at the end of the game, we'll get 1 point for every one of our eggs. And I'm planning on trying to fill up our reserve. But now we have 9 of the same type. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Bam. We got to shuffle up Tingen's cards. So you've now seen all of their solo cards. Okay, so next to Coral, just their regular guy. I think they take the egg, but... yeah, because that would be next to 3 spots. Oh, this is next to 4. Oh, they could also do that, and that's also 4 habitats. So then, to break that tie, we're going to be adjacent to more special effect icons. So that's definitely going to be like that. Very annoying. They get 2 points. And they move 1 step on that. All right, so what are we going to do here? I can achieve, but before I do, I just want to go here. I'm on mountains. Let's get rid of a coral. I'm going to get a coral right back. I'm going to spend 2 nets to take 2 eggs, which I believe is allowed. I will check. That's going to give me a point and then a good of my choice. I would need a mushroom. Let me get a mushroom. And then from that, I want to take this card. They're moving this. They're grabbing a card. Bird. Oh, no. Butterfly or dragon. There's a butterfly out there. There's a dragon out there. They would break it based on snow, but there's no snow, so they're going to break it based on victory points. That's 1. That's 2. Okay, I think I'll achieve now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes. I think I want the 3 points. Going up there, getting one of these. 3 points will be 1, 2, 3. That's going to get me a much needed net. And we're flipping all of these. 1, 2, 3. Gets me another point. Not too shabby. Okay, wow. So they're taking from here a bird. Up to 9 snow to my 3. I am not keeping up with the snow. But they don't move. Back to me, and I want to place here. Grabbing that. That'll be 1 point. Going to use my net to grab that. That'll be another point. Get another net right back. I'm on a mountain there, so I'm going to spend 1 coral. Then I could just get 3 coral. Yeah, we'll take the 3 coral. 1, 2, 3. Bam. They're just taking stuff. So it's going to be a dragon. They're both equal, so they'll take the leftmost one. I might want to recall now. Yeah, I need to recall. Or recharge, it's called. We'll get our folks back. And here we go. We're getting another event. It's an aurora storm. Snowflakes go on 1, 4, and 5. Place 1 snowflake on each snowfield with a fruit or flower. And then reveal aurora tiles from the stack until you find 2 2-slot tiles. And then place the first tile on the wild habitat on the left and the second on the right. Now, we're not going to be able to do the one on the left, so we can only do the one on the right. You can't have two Aurora tiles on the same tile, I believe. So there we go. And that's pretty much all for my recharge. I have 5 cards. Tinjin's turn. Ooh, and now the captain actually has access to one of the Aurora tiles. It can't go on the mountain still. And it gets 3 points for that. Yikes. And now it's moving over. And it's going to be scoring its blue gear token. So it's birds. They have 2 birds just in eggs. I'm pretty sure they at least have 2 cards. Yep, 1, 2, 3, yeah. So they're getting the full 12 points on that one, unfortunately. I really need fruit. I don't believe I need mushrooms, so I'll spend a mushroom to go on those mountains. I want to take 2 of those in fruit. For the 3rd fruit, I'm going to take this card. And then I'd like to use one of my nets in order to do the special ability there, which is just to flip 2 eggs. So let's unhatch these 2. That'll give me a point. And now we're ready to play some cards next round, so that's good. Back to the Tingent. Oh, I forgot to move this on. That should be there. So butterfly or dragon. We have 2 dragons here. No butterflies. And it's going to take this one because it has more snowflakes. It moves on. And now the Tingent is in the brown section, so we got to flip these cards over. That's scary. I think before I play cards, I'm going to use my captain. Go right there. My captain will let me flip 2. I'd like to do that. That gets me a point. I then want to use my net to get that egg. That'll give me 2 points. Then I want to take a flower and this card. Okay, we're kind of filled up on cards now. Once again, it's a butterfly or a dragon. This one has more snow. They are just gobbling up the snow. In fact, they get an extra one. Crazy how much snow they have. Now I'm ready to play. We're going to play 2 cards. We're going to play this for sure. That is 2 fruit and a flower. We just get to draw a card off the top of the deck, and then we'll get an egg that matches. Oh no, it's a dragon. That's not what I wanted. That will give us 3 points. And now that we're all filled up, we'll get 2 points every time we get another egg. Ooh, we get to discover. I think I want to discover a fruit. I'll give me 1. And the second card I want to play is this one. Another instant. That costs 2 coral, and I just get a net. But now we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can now achieve that. That'll be our third achievement. If we can get to here, that'll be another achievement. So the achievements are going fast now. Oh no, see, this is what I was afraid of, because now it can go on mountains. Yep, so it's now going to go there. That's going to be an Aurora tile and 2 fruit. So that's going to be 3 plus 2, 5 points. Oh my goodness. It also gets a card. Just face down. It's moving there. It's going to do a discovery. It's only 1 egg spot. We're now ready to achieve. Now the question is, do I want 2 cards or resources? I probably want resources. I do want to play this monkey. And probably this bird. So I need a mushroom. That's all I need. So yeah, let's get the 2 resources. I'm going to get a mushroom. And let's say a fruit. And I'm going to have to flip over all of these, because we're using them all. But that will give me a point. Just drawing 2 cards. So these face down cards are going to be worth, I can't really remember. Yeah, 2 points each. So it's just scoring massive points as we go along. This is crazy. I don't think I'm keeping up, and this is the easy tangent. Ugh. Well, I need to play cards. So let's do it. We'll play this card. 2 coral, 2 flowers. So we're going to discover a end card. We're going to flip through those until we find an end card, and then that will give us 2 eggs. Instead, we'll just get 2 points for each of those, so we'll be getting 4 points. Oh, look at that. First card I drew. Ooh, I like this card, actually. This is a good card. We need a heck of a lot of mushrooms, though, but that's okay. So we'll be getting 4 points for those instead of those eggs. But we cross this, so we get another one of these. I have 2 birds. If I could just get my hands on 1 more bird. Obviously, it can't be an egg. Okay, anyway, that was my first play. My second play is going to be this. This is also an end game card. 1 mushroom, 2 fruits. Ooh, actually, instead of playing this, I could play this. Yeah, I like that better. We're going to play this. This is just another instant card. Exactly the same cost. This will let us discard a card in order to get 2 resources that we discard. And so I will discard this card to get 2 mushrooms. But that will be worth 3 points, so that's nice. So now if I can get 1 more mushroom, I can play this. That'll be worth 10 points. Because I have 10 eggs. Or how many eggs do I even have here? 5, 12. So yeah, we definitely want to get that played. It would take a monkey card. There's no monkey card. Gets another one of those. Moves on. It's now scoring. It's brown. I believe it just scores the top result. Yes, indeed. Then it moves over here. Oh, man. And if it moves one more time, it's going to achieve there. And that'll be the last achievement. So I really need to just make sure to get this played. So I need one more mushroom. And then can I get anything else played? Just for the points. Well, if I go right here, I can get a mushroom. I can get 2 fruit and a coral. Oh, so I won't be able to play that. But I could play this, 2 fruit and a coral. So I could play both of those if I go there. Oh, no, I won't, because I'll have to spend one. I'll have to spend a mushroom to go there because of the mountain. There's nowhere else I can go to get mushrooms. And I simply don't have time to do a whole lot of stuff here. So, yeah, we're just going to do this. We'll get 3 mushrooms. I'll spend this. I can discard a card to get an egg, which will just be 2 points. I guess I'll discard this one. And that's it for me. Yep, that's what I feared. That's going to be 3 4 points. And a card. It's moving forward. Taking that. And that. So we split the achievements right down the middle. So once these are depleted, every other player gets to take 1 more turn. So that basically means we get 1 more turn, and then that's it. Mine is simple. I'm just going to play this card. 3 mushrooms. That'll let me score this card a second time. So that'll be nice. The other thing it does is it gives me 1 of these symbols for this, which means I'll at least be able to get those 3 points rather than 0. There we go. That's the end of the game. Let's score it up and see how we did. Let's start with the Tingent. They ended with 28 points. Now to that, we're going to add quite a lot. So we're going to look at all the cards that they acquired. All the face down cards are worth 2 points on the easygoing Tingent. They've got 6, so that's 12 points. Now we go through and just take the victory point value of all the face-up cards that they have. I've already done that. That's 18 points. Now, if they had acquired any end-game cards, like these 2 right here, they're always worth 0 points, but they give you more points for something specific. They don't activate those cards. They just get 5 points for those. Luckily, Tingent didn't manage to get any of those. We're now going to add up these projects. For this first one, they actually didn't manage to get a single one of these lizards, so that's 0 points. They didn't get an egg, and they didn't get anything in any of their cards. For this one, they do have 2, and I only have 1, so they get first place on that. That's 8 points. And then obviously for the snowflakes, they get the first place, 8 points. So that's 16 points in total for projects. We then add up their achievements. They have 15, 12, 6, and 6. That equals 39 points. Each of the trophies is worth 3 points each. They got 4, that's 12 points. And then you get 1 point for each egg, and they have 9 eggs. Altogether, that gives them 134 points. Now for us, we ended with 34 points. The value of our face-up cards here is 18. And then for our 2 in-game cards, this one's worth 12 because we have 12 eggs. And this one just lets me do this one again. So that's another 12 for 24 points. For projects, we do have one of those. So we get first place, that's 8. We get second place here for 3 because we have 1 right there. And Snowflakes is 3. So that's 14 points for the projects. Oh, hold on one second. I made a tiny scoring mistake. For the projects, depending on the difficulty level, the Tangent gets to add icons to its total. For the easygoing Tangent, it adds 2 icons. So actually for those reptiles, it had 2 icons to my 1, which means it won. It gets an extra 8 points while I lose 5 points. For the achievements, we actually did exactly what the Tangent did, just in a slightly different way. We have 15, 12, and 12. So that's also 39 points. We also have 4 of these, so that's 12 points. I actually thought I had won the game. Unfortunately, that little mistake with that one project resulted in a 13-point swing. That means I actually lost by 6 points, 142 to 136. And this was on the easygoing Tangent, so obviously I need to up my game. So there you have it. That was a complete solo playthrough of Wondrous Creatures with the new Winterfall expansion. I'd like to thank all the financial supporters of Totally Tabled, including the totally radical Jeff Fitzsimmons, Hextra, John Kohler, Scott Myers, Kevin Qualls, and Jay Satterwhite, as well as the totally bodacious Michael Crampton. If you're interested in becoming a member, you can join on YouTube or my Patreon at www.patreon.com/totallytabled. You'll gain access to my new exclusive podcast, Table Talk, as well as unboxing videos and whatever extra stuff I come up with. As always, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.